Hey, good evening, folks. It's Jason here, one of the pro traders over at TrueTrader.net. People over there in the chat room know me as the Goose, former market maker, been around the business since the 90s. Listen, I do this midweek report every week. Hopefully you guys are finding a lot of value to it. If you are finding a lot of value to it, I ask you guys to hit that like button, guys, and do me a favor and subscribe so you get the alerts when Ricky's putting out his Sunday prep, which has been bang on. It's been awesome. He did a really great poolside one last week. Hopefully you guys caught it. But make sure you guys are hitting that so your alerts you get alerted by any new content that we're putting out on YouTube. So we appreciate it very much. Hopefully you guys are liking what we're doing. Trying to keep these to about 10, 12 minutes. I think last week's went a little bit longer, but I'll try to keep them as short as I can to keep them in a little window of time that you could watch them and won't lose interest. So here we go. So that all being said, let me move over to the important stuff, the disclaimer. TrueTrader nor its representatives or myself are registered as a securities broker, dealer, or investment advisor with the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission, SEC, or any state regulatory authorities. Not licensed nor qualified to provide investment advice. This is 100% entertainment purposes only, folks. Do not follow me. This is no solicitations at all. This is just what I'm looking at, give you guys an idea, maybe for educational purposes or entertainment purposes only, okay? So with that being said, let's jump into some charts here. I got about 10 names to rifle through here, so let me start with the SPY and the Qs. Just a couple quick things to point out. Market was off a little bit today. Today's Wednesday, so it was down a little bit today, that means. The only thing I could tell you is, even though we had a little bit of a pullback, I'm just not sold that we're coming back to the 50-day yet. If you actually count these, this is the SPY I have up here, and you count these little windows of time between there, you're coming between 18 and 20 or 21 days between these pullbacks. Now, I'm a big numbers type guy, and I do believe in these little trends that are setting. So it's been about 10 or 12 days or whatever it's been. I think it's looking more like this candle where we had or this little time frame where we had a little test of the 20-day, continued on. We'll see what happens. Again, I say the same thing every time with you guys on this Wednesday prep is I don't try to predict the markets or anything like that. I just trade what I see that day and go to work. So that's what I'm going to be doing. But just to give you, I just wanted to point that obvious thing out. It's pretty funny, actually. If you look at it and you count these days and you see where we're at, almost looks very similar to some of these other ones that came back, tested it, and continued on. So each one of those actually did that throughout there about the 10th or 12th day. So just a funny little thing I want to throw in there with you guys. QQQ, by the way, looks the same idea, a little bit further away from the 20-day, but same idea. Just both of them have great trends. So with that being said, let me just jump into some of these names. I'm going to kind of go through them a little bit quicker. I did look at the earnings, a couple of the earnings names. I didn't put GME on here, but I did look at a few of the other ones. They were real light volume names, so I kind of left them off, and I went back to my Market Smith and some of the other names that I've been watching over the last week or two. So with that being said, one of the names on my list is CLF. So CLF, what I wrote down is 2275. That's Charlie, Larry, Frank. I wrote down annual pivot, and it's been holding the 50-day. I like the risk reward. So if you could actually look what I'm looking at here, I'll blow this up for you a little bit and drag it down. It's been hugging the 50-day here. Every time it's tested the 50-day, it's come off it real nice. I know it's not a huge ATR. It's a little over $1, but I wrote down nice risk reward on this. Off 2275, I'm saying it's going to come down here like this candle where it touched it and closed well above it. This one too touched it, actually went through it, closed right above it. I'm looking for that type of action, maybe right down here to this annual pivot, and that's what I'll be looking for on CLF. Let's see what happens here. Let me auto scale it and get back to the next name. We're going to look at KSS. So retail's just been getting hammered pretty much for the last week and a half. You could see all of them if you pull up other names like JWN. I mean, you can see a lot of these names have been coming in as well. So KSS, so this is what I wrote down. You can see I drew this. The yellow line is actually a trend line. Let me blow it up a little bit more for you. This is a trend line that I drew. You can see it's coming to the bottom of that trend line. And what I wrote down on KSS with that trend there is I wrote down 5190, okay, which is the 200-day. You can see the 200-day here. You could also see this prior support. So I'm looking for a reversal in a weak sector. We'll have to see how it trades, with depending on what the market does. But with that trend line there and the 200-day, maybe it just snaps right below it, catches the 200-day and be a nice grab down there and reclaims this and reclaims that 50-day area as well, which is what that purple line, which I'm looking for. So we'll see what happens on KSS. The sector's pretty weak right now, but I will be looking as it's approaching the 200-day. Next name on there is CPRI. Let me blow this up a little bit bigger here so you can look at the bigger picture here. I wrote down CPRI 54.5. I wrote down prior low in the 126 day. So this yellow line is a 126 moving average. You can see it's down here. You got the previous low. This is a name that I've had and I've kind of been tracking. This is kind of a Market Smith name for me. What I mean by that is it's a little bit more analytics, maybe some fundamental things mixed in with some technicals that kind of trigger me to look at this name. But 54.5 is what I'm looking at. And you can see it's right off this this level. It's held it a couple times, but you know, I'm pretty much thinking that it's gonna. What I liked about today's action, just to show you, and let me blow it up a little bit. I love when it goes down, it tests a level, which it did, and then it closes above the 50-day. That purple line's a 50-day, so that's an action that I do like. So it closed above the 50-day. I'll take a look at it if it wants to try that level again tomorrow. Next one I'm looking at is QFIN. Let's see what I wrote down here. That's QFIN. 2380. I wrote down 200-day and an annual pivot and a nice trend. That's what I wrote down on this. And what I mean by that is you can see it. I'll blow it up a little bit for you guys. You can see a beautiful trend that has been coming down. It's got an annual pivot right here. I really like this name. You also got the 200-day right below it with the annual pivot. This should be pretty interesting. This orange line is a 200-day. So I wrote down 2380, which is just below 200-day by 9 cents and just above the annual pivot by 4 cents. So I went right in the middle there. We'll see if it tests. It's pretty close to the previous low, but not quite. But let's see if it gets one more test down there, it kisses it, and makes another leg up. So that's what I'm hoping for on QFIN. Next one is going to be EDIT, E-D-I-T. I wrote down 60-20 for a long. 60-20. You can see my little dotted line. That's an alert I have set. That's prior support area and an annual pivot. This has been a real strong name, as you can see. It's been trending. I really like the name. I like it on weakness, and you can see this prior support right in here. So that's what I'm talking about. So maybe we'll get a pullback to this annual pivot right here, which is this dotted blue line, into this prior support as well. Bounce off there. That'd be a sweet. That could be a sweet trade there. So that's EDIT off 60-20. Also, that is the whole number. You know, I like wholes and halves. So 60, 65, 70, 75, 80. That's what I mean by when I say wholes and halves on that. And the big numbers being 50, 100, 150, 200. All right. So let me continue on here with SONO, S-O-N-O. Let's see what I wrote down on SONO. You can see a lot already. We're probably right where I'm looking at for you guys that have been following me. SONO, I wrote down 37.10. Okay, you got a lot there. You got an annual pivot, a quarterly pivot, a 126-day, and a previous low, all in one spot right here. And that's what I'm looking for. Come test this one again. I'll be looking for a long on that. That's SONO, S-O-N-O. Nice stuff right in this area for as far as some support possibly. So I'll be watching SONO there. BGFE. All right, BGFE 2620 is what I wrote down. 2620, you got an annual and a quarterly. This is a name that I've been tracking for, and I think it was on. I'm looking at my sticky notes that I keep. It was, I think on Thursday or Friday I had this name written down. But this is one right now I'm looking at. It's been a nice trend, as you can see. If I actually drew a trend line here, I could actually draw a quick one here just to show you. You'll see what's happening here. If I drew this trend line, you'll see where it's kind of lining right up with. Right up into that annual pivot as well as that quarterly pivot and that monthly pivot. So I like this area right here, this 26-20 area. So just blowing it up, that's what I'm looking at, right in this pocket right here. You could also see it tested that one day, kicked right back up. So we'll see what happens there on BGFE. 5. Everybody's waiting for the reversal on 5. I thought we started to have it on, I don't even know what day it was, Friday or so. When this action happened, sorry, wrong one. I got to click on the 5 below, otherwise you get a $2,000 stock. On this day right here was Friday, as you could see. But it came right back in. Sellers were still around, but I do like this candle that it had today, so I just wanted to point that out. It tested this quarterly pivot, kicked right back up and closed pretty decent. So with that being said, I'm going to look at 178.20, which was today's low. You can see it's been prior support over here. So I like this 178 area. You could also see there's a quarterly just below that at 177.20. But I wrote down the prior low and quarterly pivot below. I think it's oversold, and I'm looking for this to be possibly a reversal candle right here. So we'll see what happens with that, okay? and that's 5. I do like this one, and I already have this name on swing. So PVH. PVH, I wrote down 107.05. And this is just right above the 50-day in today's previous low. PVH, you can see it had this huge gap up on earnings, right? Gave it almost the whole move back, right back to the 50-day. I love these type of trades. Let it bounce right off the 50-day, off this previous low, which happened today, and the 50-day. See if it gives one more test there and then makes another leg up. So that's what I'm hoping for on PVH. That's at 107.05. I wrote down the previous day's low as well as the 50-day. And the last one for today is going to be STX. STX, I wrote down 83.40. 83.40, okay? And what I wrote down on STX is I wrote the previous low, monthly pivot, and annual pivot. All right, so you got the, let me blow this up for you, but you can see also the support. Just I want to keep this for a sec. Support in this area. Now let's blow this up the wrong way. And you can see these dotted lines. This is a monthly pivot right here this month, and this is an annual pivot right here. You got the previous low also kissing it. I like this. Let's see what happens tomorrow in stacks. The only thing with STX, which is Seagate, is that the only thing I'm worried about is it's a little bit close. It's close to 84.30. It's only $1 away. This is a name that has, $2.5, $3 range. So it might be a little bit close, but I still want to see what the action is off that level. So we'll have to see. So I wrote down 83.40, which is right between the two pivots there, the annual and the monthly pivot. So with that all being said, that's all I have for you guys. I'm going to keep things pretty short and my entry, my exit short, I should say. I appreciate y'all. Do me a favor. Ricky mentioned this too. Is if you guys are going to leave a thumbs down button, I think I got a thumbs down button this week. Write the comment and tell me why. Tell me what I'm doing. Tell me what you don't like about these, because they've been, if you've been tracking them, they've been pretty spot on. There's been a couple really good opportunities almost every week. So and that's what I'm looking for. I don't expect 10 out of 10 opportunities to work. It doesn't work like that. Who knows what how the market opens tomorrow? I'm doing this prior to knowing whether we're going to gap up or down 200 points. Okay, but if you have something negative to say, I'm all for it. Just write in the comments. Give me some feedback so I can adjust things or make you guys happy. And comments are great. I appreciate them. The likes are awesome. I really keep those coming too. And make sure you guys subscribe to us, okay? And come check us out over at TrueTrader.net. I appreciate you guys very much. You guys have a wonderful evening, and I will see you bright and early in the morning. Thank you guys very much. Bye-bye.